Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to the Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Samantha Cummings, here with my co-host Matilda Swift, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us, but still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our mastery through missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way, and this week we're talking about translations. Ooh. But before we do that, let's do our wins and whinges.
Okay, mine today is neither a win nor a whinge. It's a confession, and I feel like I just want to be upfront about my personal problems.
Okay.
So, I had a book to submit to Amazon this week, which had to be in by Saturday. So I always publish my books on Wednesday, so the Saturday is my deadline, Saturday at midnight.
Yeah.
And last time I put a book in, because my schedule was very tight and I had no other capacity, and had added a couple of extra books during the year, I really, really had no way to be better at this deadline, but I could have been slightly earlier than 10 minutes to midnight because I felt horrible being at 10 minutes to midnight, and I was rushing to get there all week. But even then, on the day, I presumably could have found half an hour to speed up. It's hard to try and balance, I need to have a little bit of rest time to go back refreshed to the next chapter. Anyway, 10 minutes to midnight was a ludicrous amount of time to be leaving it, and I felt terrible. And I was like, I'm never going to do this again. So this week, yesterday was my deadline, it was Saturday, and I was like, I'm going to get it in by Friday. That's fine. There's been loads of glitches on Amazon recently. The entire internet, all the Amazon web services went down. Everything's been terrible. People might have pre-orders lingering in limbo. It's I'm just going to get it done a day early. I have enough time to get it a day early. It's no problem. So I said I'd do it Friday, but I was also I don't want to kill myself getting it in by a certain time that's necessarily, set in stone for no reason. Because next week I'm going into writing a new book. So I just want to balance between being relaxed but getting in early. I still went to my roller skating group. I went to my writing group. I had lunch with my dad. I went to the gym to do gym classes. So I got everything done. I felt relaxed. And yet still on the Saturday, when I didn't have a huge amount left to do, some of it, I obviously underestimated the amount of stuff I still had to do because I always forget elements of the process. I block it in my mind like childbirth, as we say with our zero experience of childbirth. It's like childbirth. You just put it out of your mind when it's done. So there were the parts understandably took longer than needed to, but there were still parts of the day where I was I think I'm procrastinating right now. So I did better than last time, but this time I got it in at 11:45, which didn't feel great either. But it didn't feel like I was racing there in a mad dash panic. It felt I could have been earlier.
You were just kicking the can down the road for the sake of it.
Yeah. And it's useful, right? We're trying to get data. I'm trying to get data and trying to work with myself, not against myself. So the data that I've got from that is it doesn't really matter if I have a lot of stress or a little bit of stress. My natural inclination, for reasons that I should see a therapist, is to want to be fundamentally doing something that is a way to make me see myself as bad, right? That's why I'm doing it, is to tell myself that I'm a bad person who does things badly by getting stuff in at close to midnight when I do not need to. I could have worked hard the day before and I could have done it on Friday, but I didn't. Or I could have worked really hard on Saturday morning and got it in then, but I didn't. I think the time for me, a bad person, is near midnight.
Yeah, it's not that you're a bad person. I think that you probably, like you said...
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell myself, right? That's why I'm doing it, is to make myself feel bad.
Yeah, you do like to make yourself feel bad. But you also love the thrill of a deadline. Because I'm the same.
Because I know I'm never going to miss it.
Yes. So you're running out the clock for the drama. It's you're taking the last shot in a basketball game and you're waiting to throw the ball as the buzzer goes, which is fun.
And you know what? It's such a good book as well. I felt really good about it. But it's also part of the reason why I was happy dawdling during the week was this book, the next book coming after it is like a flashback book. So at the end of this book, the main character needs to see something that led her into thinking about something that happened a couple of years before. And also, it needed to bring in like dozens and dozens of different threads and lots of different characters who don't have main roles in this book, but they're going to kind of all tie together because I'm going for this 9-book arc, and this is book 5. And so we're really heading into like kind of just post the climax. Everything's kind of getting nitty grittier. So I didn't want to rush it because I wanted to have time to think of good solutions, these like good ways to tie these things in. And I felt like I really, really did. And the best solution that I came up with for like tying everything really, really tightly together, I had on Friday night as I went to bed. So partly it is good in that like it does have that final basketball shot feeling, in that like I really am like, that is the way my brain works. It's just like the more time and the kind of more time in it and thinking about it, the slight more pressure brings good ideas to the fore. So that is good, but I think I do need to make myself artificial deadlines. Like I need to schedule myself so that I have to finish a week before, because Amazon could have had a tech problem. That's not an inconceivable issue. So I don't want to be relying on both me and Amazon meeting a deadline, because I know I can meet a deadline, but I do not feel confident Amazon can score like a buzzer beating shot.
I agree. I don't believe that they are like the MVP of the match. They are
that's
like
me.
the person who's got the person that's come off the bench and accidentally gets the ball right at the end, and everyone shouts, "Throw it!" and then it doesn't go in.
And then they just like, what? Yeah. What should I do?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, a good lesson.
We're great at these analogies.
It didn't feel as bad as it didn't feel as bad as last time, but I did not feel great. But I felt like it was nice to say, like, this is data that I'm getting about myself, that regardless of the situation, this is what I want to do, and I do not want to do it anymore. So that was my confession of the week. Win of the week is my first week in my co-working space, and I am in heaven. Literal heaven. I love it. And I also, because I'm doing half a day of freelancing at my old job, it's quite a nice comparison. I was like, this job is very boring and it's so tedious. And it was not that I just was like throwing my toys at the pram wanting to do something else. I was like, no, I really just, it isn't enjoyable. It's fine, but I've just been doing it too long. I need a break. So that was excellent. But also it was nice work just to log in, do some work, get some money, go. So wins all round. I have been to 2 different gym classes. I'm going to add a third one on next week. I just feel like the best version of myself, which is just ideal.
I'm so happy. So, you're just living your best life. Like when I've seen the pictures of your office space that you posted into the Discord,
it's so good.
And and it looks so cozy, and the view is just delightful. I'm very, very jealous.
I just found the other day. The desks
standing desks.
Yeah,
winning.
I know.
That's so good. My wins aren't as exciting, but they are great. So I have had... Well, I decided yesterday that I was going to have a millionaire author day today. Because
lovely.
I haven't done it for ages. It kind of just fell off my habit. I used to do it when I was walking on a Saturday morning. I'd have my millionaire author day where I'd go for a really long walk. And in my head, pretend like I was already a millionaire author. And it was such a nice feeling. And it really set me up for a good weekend. And it was just like playing pretend, basically. But it felt good to play pretend. And then I stopped doing it for reasons unknown. I probably just, I forgot. I forgot that's what I was doing and I got distracted. Easily done. And then yesterday I realised I hadn't done it for a while. So I thought, well, tomorrow I'm going to do that. So I woke up this morning, had a lovely walk, got home, made really good coffee, really good breakfast, and then I wrote for a few hours and got all my words done in the morning. And then this afternoon I tidied because I'm really messy, guys. I'm such a messy person. And I just, because obviously working basically 2 full-time jobs, I just do, who has time to clean? I don't have that cleaner yet. I don't have the butler or the maid or people tidying up after me. I apparently have to do it myself. Yeah, it's so cruel. So I just don't do it. And then it gets to a point where I hate myself for not doing it. So today I did writing, I cleaned the house, I made pasta from scratch, with a pumpkin that I'd grown
Very
on my
exciting.
allotment, where I roasted it and
Oh,
made pasta out of it. And it's like full on best life. I made
you're not
croutons from my
really a
leftover
author. You're
sourdough.
Nigella Lawson today. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
I've been made croutons out of leftover sourdough, and
Oh,
effectively just been the best person in the world. And it was great, and my writing was so good today, and I got to this part that I've been dying to get to for so long. So everything just flowed so nicely. And yeah, it just felt like completely winning at life. It felt so good to remember that feeling of this is what it can be like. Don't forget this. And I encourage
yeah.
everybody who wants to play pretend to do that as often as possible. It's so good.
Just feels so good to have Made with a Life Day because it just feels like you can get loads done and see how much you can get done and relax and like actually enjoy your life. Um, yeah, I think I need to do that. Probably not next week. I've got a real busy week. Maybe I will do next week. I need to write a whole
Yeah.
novella next week is part of the issue. But maybe I could fit. I've got some massage vouchers that I got from friends for quitting my job, so I've got some massage vouchers to use up. And I think I do need to have a relaxed day at least. I have been like
Oh,
I've got that like hit by a truck post book feeling, very like headachy. Can't really think of interesting thoughts. But I did also do a big tidy today because yeah, when I'm in editing mode, I just everything just passed up and up and up, and I like it
yeah.
felt so nice to really clean everything. Like I even pulled up all the like sofa cushions and vacuumed the sofa today, so
Oh,
I
I didn't go that
feel
far.
virtuous.
Yeah, you one up me on that. I didn't do that. That seemed too much. I forgot actually
I
just
mean, I've done that for
to
like the
make
first
this
time in a
section
year, so
even longer. I had my I went for a massage on Wednesday. It feels like it was forever ago. It's really weird. I had a 2-hour massage on Wednesday, and
oh,
that was
very envious.
luxurious. It was a whole
Mm.
body hot stone scrub, dry body brush. There was a shower in the middle of it. And, I got to like she was like, "Okay, jump in the
Oh,
shower," and like I got a little shower. Yeah, I just got. I'm gonna say this. I got touched all over, and it was great.
that sounds delightful. Yeah,
It
I
was
love a
the
little bit of hot
best.
stone.
Oh
Yeah, I'm gonna get booking in my massages because
yes,
my
book
body
it in.
my body needs it. Yeah. Okay. So we should get on topic of the week. Part of the reason why we're having a
Yes.
long intro section is it's a relatively short topic today. It will won't be super long, so we just thought we'd do a good update. So we are talking about translations today. Have you got plans to translate your books?
Not right now. It is something that I'm interested in, and I love the idea of it. And I know that people say if you don't do translations, you're leaving money on the table, but I don't have money on the table right now to do it anyway. So, so like that's just where I'm at right now. Is I don't have the money to do it. I was looking up some costs for it this week just to see like, oh, if I were to do one of my books, how much would it cost me? And because my books are long, obviously that is detrimental to translation costs. So it made me realize it's a future goal to do. But I have been looking into it just as an idea, and whilst I'm not doing it right now, it's something I want to build into a future strategy. So this kind of harkens back to our talk about strategies, is that it's not on my current strategy, but it is a strategy that I will want to be going for at some point in the future. But I don't think it's for me right now, purely for the money element. But
Did you
you
get an idea of how much
obviously,
it would cost for one of your books?
well,
And just
I
to be clear, I
think it
think at
was.
least I am going to be talking today about Scribe Shadow.
Yes, I was looking at Scribe Shadow, and I think it would have probably ended up costing me a couple of $100 for one book, which obviously isn't too much, but then getting a new cover design done and trying to do adverts and stuff, I'm just not there right now with that kind of spend, and also that kind of marketing plan. Like, I'm terrible at marketing my current series as it is. I think I need to figure that out before I can invest into a different market, which is fine. And,
Yeah.
and I
And are
wanted to look at the
you
costs and things to feel to feel that feeling of like when I really feel money. I feel spending in my soul, and and it's sometimes the idea of spending money makes me recoil in horror, but it didn't make me recoil. It just made me think, not right now, which is a growth for me because I hate spending money. But I didn't think it was like a waste of money. It's just a non-spend for me at this moment in time. So
I was just trying to look up and see if I could find out how much I paid. So I think part of the reason why I wanted to do this episode this week is Scribe Shadow have just put up their prices, which means that A, I think people are having to think about it a little bit more. B, a lot of people signed up to it at the last minute of it being the price it was at, which means that maybe people are signed up to it and then don't quite know what to do next. And C, at the same time as all this, and maybe a link to it, Amazon have also introduced their own translation option. So kind of a lot of maybe people who hadn't thought about translations or hadn't maybe got serious about thinking about translations, who might be a new stage with it now. That's definitely where I'm at. So I had been planning to do translations. I was planning to do them earlier in the year, and then because I'm going to set business up at the end of this year, I was like, actually, it's a bit of a palaver with transferring across the IP. And if I was going to set them up, I want to set them up, then advertise them straight away. Then I'm making them have value. Then I have to buy them for myself. I was like, actually, I'd rather just get them set up start of next year and have a big plan. And also, I would have more time to work on like actually the process of getting them done and advertising them. But because Scribe Shadow, I mean, it'll take a while to do all that. So I was like, I might as well get started now so they're ready in the new year. And also because Scribe Shadow have increased their prices, I thought I would just hop on it and get started now. So I don't know how much I paid for mine, but I paid less than you'll see as the current pricing. I think it's about doubled for most of them, and it's still very reasonable. And because I write short books, it's actually fine. So I think I'm just trying to see if I can get a clue on this. So you buy packages, you buy subscriptions on Scribe Shadow. And roughly in the past, roughly one credit equaled one word. And now I think they're in the new model, it's very strict. One credit equals one word. So if you buy a package, for example, for 150,000 credits, that should be 150,000 words. They used to have slightly different credit amounts for packages. So I think I have a package that gives me, I'm going to absolutely wildly guess here and say I think I've got 250,000 credits. And the reason why I think that per month, and the reason why I think that is because I have currently got 5 books in my series. I've got a 6th novella, but I think I wouldn't translate it to start with. So I've got 5 books. They are 42,000 words each. And I think in my head, I had calculated that I could translate the whole series each month into one language. And I think the price for that was something like $49 a month. And I am now grandfathered into that price. So for me, it costs like £40 a month to translate a whole series into one language. And I've also got some forever credits, which are ones you could do to like top up bits of months, or you can just start your month early on Scribe Shadow. So you can say, I've reached the end of my quote unquote month worth of credits. Can I just start a new month? Which you can do. Credits also roll over, so you can have them. They really last for 60 days. So I signed up just before the 27th of October when they changed their prices. And I've got 2 months to use those credits, basically. So I was like, even if I don't get started right away, I've got 2 months in December, I'll be quite free. So I was like, I'll spend most of my time in December just getting a couple of languages done and kind of figuring that out. But because we're doing this episode today, I wanted to get a wriggle on. I wanted to not just leave it last minute, because that is my system. So I wanted to have this episode today just to kind of start talking about the process of it. And I think one of the tricky things with translations is everyone says like, oh, you just translate your books. And it sounds like it's going to be like just drop it in and it comes back to another language.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine it's
and
not
I don't
that.
really know. It's not that, but like that's definitely the way it sounds when everyone's talking about it. And even like I've got friends who've done it. It's not even that they're saying that, right? They're saying the parts they're doing. They're saying like, oh, you need like a list of never translate words and always translate words. You need the keywords, and it's just the way it just sounds very easy. But the reality of it, like I knew it would not be. Much like it's like, oh, you just format your book. Oh, you just like upload your book to Amazon. Like that's.
Yeah.
But it's actually when you sit down to do it, you're like, oh, I should have left more than 10 minutes to do this. So I wanted to kind of get a start on it to see how much the annoying part of it is annoying. So for different genres, there's different languages you want to pick, but like I think generally people are picking uh, like French, German, Spanish, and Italian as like for the first mix of languages. Other things I think are popular as well. So there's also like Dutch. I think is relatively popular, even though everyone in the Netherlands speaks fluent English. So who's reading books in Dutch? I don't know. And they're also very fussy about the translation quality. So I don't know. But they're big readers. That's maybe also it. Brazilian Portuguese and European Portuguese. So, and there's lots and lots more languages in there. So there's lots of languages in beta. So things that you maybe wouldn't have thought about, like Japanese and um, Russian, stuff like that. So lots of options, and they're expanding all the time. They have put out a statement about. I'll come back to my process in a minute, but they put out a statement in response to Amazon's sudden announcement of we're doing translations now, and their statement was very measured and reasonable in the face of like Amazon's translation. What they've said about it so far is basically you do just boop, you click a button, you have to accept whatever comes out, much like with their AI voices
Yeah.
audiobooks. The AI voice audiobooks is not very well paid. There's no option for you to impact the quality at all. Like you can't amend anything. It seems like it's the same with the translations. And having done a translation today, a test one to see how this goes, that absolutely wouldn't work for my books. In no way could I let an automated system translate my book without me having a step in the process and without me being able to do checks and amendments and like have good customer support, which ScribeShredder really does. So I would say if you are a millionaire author, you're already living your millionaire author lifestyle, you would have a PA and probably human translators working on this for you who would just take everything off your hands, do everything, and be, easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. And in fact, the first SPS I went to, maybe the second one I went to, I think it was Bella Andre was there doing a talk about translations. And it was maybe 6 months before AI translations came in. And she gave this talk about how she'd done all translations. And it was an enormous job. And she'd spent, huge figures with it. It had brought her in a lot of money.
Yeah.
But she had spent eye-watering amounts. It was a very weird talk to have as the first talk to at SPS because it was just like, who here has that money? Like, who are you talking to? But anyway, but then AI translations comes along after that. It's like, oh, actually, now I can think about translations because I don't have, thousand drop on it. So if you were a millionaire author, you just drop it on someone else to do this for you. If you were an absolutely, you've got no money, no options author, and you desperately want to have translation for some reason, you might use Amazon's option. I think people have done AI audio for that reason as well. But I can't see how it would work really because translating is actually very difficult. And ScribeShredder, they've been working on it for a couple of years, their platform, and they have got a lot of things in the background that make it work as a translation tool. It is very specialized. So and so I did today. I did a test chapter. I uploaded a book and I did a test chapter, just a one chapter translation. When you sign up for free, you get 5,000 words. So I would say it's worthwhile if you are even vaguely thinking about it anytime soon, just signing up and getting your free 5,000, just see how it works. And so that's kind of where I was at before today, was having I'd got my account signed up. I had done a couple of other bits, we'll talk about in a minute, but I basically got my account signed up and was aware of the options. Have you done any investigating into how it works, or have you got other friends who are doing it?
No, I don't know, other than people in our Discord talking about it, because I know some of our listeners and Discorders are getting translations. No, I don't know that many people who are doing it. I think probably it's still something that a lot of YA authors aren't leaning into. I've looked up on different countries' Amazons to see how many books come up under the genres, and then it's not flooded, which means that there is still a gap in the market there if I were to do it. So it's not a crazy popular thing at the moment. So I've not really seen or heard anybody talking about it, which is, I think, just for maybe YA fantasy, it's not a big deal at the moment. Maybe I'm missing out. I mean, obviously, I still haven't found the popular water cooler. I just made my own, so I don't know what the bigger people are doing, if they even exist. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be a booming topic in any groups that I've stumbled upon. But I know that's very different to cozy.
I think it's tricky. It's a tricky genre because one of the hard parts of getting a translation done is figuring out what you're going to translate. And that's what I was dealing with today. So we'll come into that in a little bit more. But yeah, in Cozy Mysteries, weirdly, everyone's doing it, or everyone that I know is doing it. And I don't... And so in my head, I sort of imagine absolutely everyone's doing it. But I do think cozy is a particularly strong genre for it. I think one of the reasons is maybe because I think cozy generally has pretty broad appeal. Lots of the countries that were the first ones to be translated into, like German and French, have got very big interest in location-specific crime, like mysteries. They really like British mysteries or small village, small town American mysteries. So that's maybe drawn people into it. Also, I guess partly it is cozies tend to be shorter, so you can take a bit more of a punt in the market. There's also maybe the Rich Osman effect in that there is some sort of genre, even if cozy isn't a massive genre in a certain country, there has been a recent big publication in that genre. And I guess there's sort of a tipping point, right? You heard about it. I heard about it so much, the cozy author. I was like, well, it must be everyone's doing this. I better get on it.
Yeah.
Because it is affordable. So for me, for the next few months, it is going to cost me something like £40 a month to translate a whole, where I'm up to with the series. So 5 books in a series into a new language.
I will just say that subscription that you have is now $129 a month. That's the difference.
And it's for a smaller word count. Yeah, it is significantly more expensive now, which it should be. I think they put a huge amount of work into it. It's a small team working on it.
Yeah.
I think they started at a very low price just to get people into it and working on it, but it is now more expensive. But even the price it is not expensive. It is just maybe a slightly more of a barrier to be I'll just give it a try. Because for me, that is cheap, and also my cover design is cheap for doing amendments. So I checked with her a while ago about how much it would be to change a title, and it's again another $50 per book. And in fact, what's partly interesting about doing translations is that it really makes you have to look do market research in a way that you sort of maybe stop doing as thoroughly in your regular languages, because having to do market research in the German market to see, because I knew my covers were very aligned with the French market because a couple of the cozy authors are very popular in the French market, so I have already seen their covers for quite a long time, and they're oh yeah, they are like that. I spoke to somebody at SPS who's very in translations, and they were saying my covers look very like the French market. They're very cutesy and cartoony. So I was okay, so I don't have to change my covers, I have to retitle them. But then looking at the German market, because they tend to have much more Scandi crime, police procedural type crimes rather than cozies. Historically, they read cozies, they just don't. That's not the way they were covering them.
Yes, German market has a lot of darker
slightly
covers.
Darker.
Yeah.
And I was I'm not sure it's worth, for something I don't really know the value of, to get my cover design to make whole new covers. Because the market it might just be that my books just don't do well in Germany. I think that's the interesting thing about translations, is that it's not if you translate into this market, you'll definitely do well in this genre. It could just be that yours they don't hit. They're the wrong tone, or they just never take off for some reason. So it's I don't feel confident enough that I would do it with my own with covers from someone else. So I'm just going to make my own covers, which I would never normally do. And if they do even reasonably well, I might get them remade anyway. But one of the benefits of AI is that I could give it the covers and say I don't think the fonts are right here. I don't think I picked the right colours. Can you just give me some suggestions of how I should change things? And now I think they look good. They obviously would look much better if my designer did them, and I would love to have her redo them. And she's very, very good. And I've just asked her for 3 more covers, so I'm keeping her in work in other ways. But I will use my own ones in Germany, and get her to do the retitlings for other languages. So I'd already had to think about the covers. I'd already done that a while ago, and the titles. The whole process of everything to do with this translation. The only downside is that it's really made me hate whimsy. I regret. I don't regret it, but like I'm really kicking myself for like all the infinite whimsical choices that I've made in these books. Like the titles are puns, every shop name in every book, everything you encounter is like a literary pun. I was like, why? Why would I do this? Even people's names are puns. I was like, oh. And AI is so bad at puns. And then
Yeah.
in the book, all the way through every single book in the series, every few pages, there's like a baking simile that represents someone's feelings. Like her heart rose like a souffle. I was like, oh, this is going to be awful. It's not going to work at all. So I had to, I just as a test of that, I worked with Gemini on the titles to get the titles and like try and figure out what was going to work with Gemma titles. And so I did a lot of research on Amazon about what the titling systems were, and then worked with it to find some titles that would work on a theme. So I got the titles and I got the covers a few weeks ago when I had a break between books. And then today, in time for this episode, even though I was very, very tired, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make myself go ahead and like do the next step and actually get it started and see, even if I don't finish it, I could just to see what the getting started of it is. So I used Notebook LM to pull out all the names of people and places, and then work with Gemini to get suitable translations that were not literal translations, because like they're things like there's an old typewriter shop called Just My Type, and there's a romance book shop called Kiss and Tale. I was like, you can't translate this directly, they will be nonsense, so like, can you find something cutesy in the same manner but not using the same system? So I had to go through all the way through and do that. I had to find all the names, because like oddly a lot of my names are real things, like Madeline's a name, but like a Madeline is also a cake. So it's like I really want to be careful about the names. Even the place, the village called Little Quillington, which is, it's like, do I keep that? Do I not? So it took a while to like just go back and forth through that and like really check all those things and get translation of stuff. And then in ScribeShare, you can give it a list of stuff to always translate. So you can say, always make this shop title this thing. Don't ever treat it as a word. Treat it as a set of words that you translate to these set of words. Or you can say never translate. So you can give people's names, for example, or place names and say just never translate these things. So I put together those lists. You give it tropes, you give it keywords, you give it your blurb, you give it your title and series title, you give it your cover, and using all that information, it uses those details to influence the translation. So for example, it knows it's a cozy mystery. It knows it's set in England. It knows it's culinary focused. It knows kind of the main conflicts. And I don't know how, but it is supposed to use that to feed into the way in which like it translates the tone. And so you can either do it chapter by chapter or the whole book. And because I had free credits, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to, if I have to burn through these credits doing a few different translations and figure stuff out, I'll do that. So I did one chapter in advance of this podcast to see what it's like. And I'm starting with German, not because it's actually the first market I'm going to start with necessarily, but just because actually German's the only language I can even vaguely read. And I'm not good because I'm English and languages are not our forte. But I have in the past spent a fair amount of time learning German, so hopefully some of it sticks. And enough of it sticks for it to like stand out if something is very wrong. So I had a quick skim through the chapter, then I put it in Gemini and asked it to translate it back into English and analyze it for me. And the first step, like when I did translation of German, it was so weird seeing your own writing in German, because like I can recognize what they're saying and it's in German. Bizarre. And then when I put it back into Gemini and had it translated into English, which like Gemini doesn't have the original book, Gemini doesn't know what the English was, it only had the German. It translated it into English and it was like perfect. It was like I had written it. It's like, but I didn't write that. And it did a little analysis on like things that it thought worked and didn't work. And it picked up on those little baking similes. And it's like, oh, it's done a really good translation here of an equivalent phrase to rose like souffle and an equivalent phrase to another baking thing. There are a couple of times when it's used slightly strong words, but it works in the context. So you could keep those. It's fine. Overall, a great translation. It's like, oh, okay. That feels fantastic. And now I feel I can go and do the whole book. And it just, yeah, I think I had imagined, because the book was so...
Carry on.
Sorry, I want to delay because I don't know why the internet's not very good today. I think I've used all the internet with my brain today. yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I think I had been afraid that it was just so full of like whimsy that it was just never going to translate it to be anything sensible. But there's parts where even like the characters joking with each other and like being sarcastic and bantery, and looking at the translated back into English version, it came across as like, oh, phenomenal, love it.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds so like I'm really happy that it's worked. How long do you think it's taken, or how long are you going to project for like a full book and the whole process? Are you going to
Yeah.
get somebody to proofread, or are you just going to just throw it out there?
Um, so I think I'm not going to get a human to proofread because as I said, I've got lots of friends who've done crazy mysteries, and you get a lot of criticism about the quality of translations, and they have recently been finding they were like, I've got people who've been doing translations for a while and have switched from completely human done to AI with proofreading to AI no proofreading, and they're like, actually, it doesn't make a difference. Like people complain about the proofreading and they complain about the AI. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what process you use. I think one of the benefits of it is of different languages and translations is there's not a connection between your English version and your German version, for example. So, say you put out an English version and, like, my books are all 4 stars and above, and the translation's awful and it gets 1 and 2 stars. Like, those are on my author page, but people don't really click through to that. And also, they're not caring about the German version. And, like, there's no damage to if you put something out and it's terrible, you can just delete it. Like I think I would just put up the ebooks to start with before the paperback. So you could just delete that and be like, oh, you know what, that wasn't a good translation. I'll start getting, or you could not even delete it and just replace the file and then see how it does. So I think I'm just gonna. There's various what's the word, like GPTs that people have made that are like proofreading for them and just checking. I think having seen that Gemini retranslation back into English, having seen how good that is, I think unless it were a particularly tricky language of which like there's no hope of AI really capturing anything, I think I'm going to try it just without proofreading or any human intervention. You can get Scribe
Yeah.
Shadow to proofread, but I think one of the things people are saying about it is like it doesn't seem to be a great benefit in that it's often just using the same model to translate and then proofread. It's like, well, just going to pick up the same issues. So I think I
Yes.
would just use a GPT that I can find from someone who's using a similar thing to do the checking or create my own to check it. And yeah, and just put it out there because it is leaving my table otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's a fun technology. I think that translations,
Yeah.
and I know there's so much talk around AI and taking jobs from humans, but when it comes to translations, I think that that's my funnest thing about AI. Is that not the future that we
Yeah.
all wanted, where we could instantly translate stuff and not
Yeah.
have to not have to learn that. I know it's super lazy, not have to learn the language. I've spent years learning a
I'm
second
never going to
language,
learn a
and
language
and
fluently,
I'm
so
awful.
yeah.
I have been doing French for 2 years, maybe three, maybe longer. I don't even know how long I've been doing it. Thousands of days on Duolingo, and I can't speak French. I can read French,
Yeah.
just about. I'm passable reading, but I would love to have all the money in the world and give it to people, but it's an impossibility for me right now. So I do think that Scribe Shadow or Shadow Scribe.
Scribe Shadow. We can't get into this. On Pen
Okay.
and Prosper, they kept mixing the two up. One of them would say Scribe Shadow, and the other would say Shadow Scribe. It's Scribe Shadow. I think
Scribe Shadow.
confusing their logo
I
as a raven is neither a scribey thing or a
it's
shadowy thing. It's sort of shadowy, but anyway, Scribe Shadow.
it's yeah, it really baffles me. I do think their prices are really good, especially if it's one of your strategies is translations and you're going to spend time and money doing it as part of your business model. I think that it's a cost that like you could probably easily take on if you're already making money, and so you can put money, like funnel the money back into doing that. And hopefully one day I do get there once I figure out how to make money off my books. And that's what we're
I
here
mean,
for.
I am grandfathered in at the current rate for now until
Yeah.
I like changed level. So I have to stay at this level forever. I have to pay this level forever, or I lose this grandfathered in rate, which is slightly annoying, but reasonable. And obviously, I only have so many books, and I only want to spend so much time and effort translating. So at some point, I will stop my subscription. I forgot you also asked me about time taken.
Yes.
So I had planned to spend this afternoon doing a translation. I planned to spend the whole afternoon. So we record this podcast in the evening, record at 8 p.m. on a Sunday, if anyone's wanted to think of us at that time. And I had, when I have my lofty goals of, I'll have my book into Amazon on Friday night and I'll have the whole weekend free. It's like, oh, that'll be such a delight. I'll have the whole weekend free. I'll just relax. I'll be so just fun loving. I'll be a little fun loving weekend baby. And I didn't do that at all. So today I spent the whole morning trying to get over my headache, cleaning my house, trying to relax, and doing some bits and pieces of chores in a not too stressful way, but not super fun. And then this afternoon I was just exhausted and really felt like I could go to sleep. I could just go to bed. And I was like, I'll give myself definitely from 6 to 8 to work on translation stuff and not necessarily get a huge amount done, just at least see. But in that time, and obviously I had already done some work on this, right? Because I'd already got my German titles and I've got German covers. So I'd done a small amount of work on that, but that's really as far as I got. I started at a lazy person 6 o'clock, maybe 10 past, 6. And I started by watching all the tutorial videos from Scribe Shadow, which are mercifully short. Every single one is about 5 minutes. They're here's this stage, 5 minutes. And I watched them on 1.5 speed anyway. So watch those videos, use Notebook to make my lists of people and places, use Gemini to figure out the appropriate translations for those, put those into always translate and never translate lists, put together a book record, put a book in, translated a chapter, checked it in Gemini, reviewed it, read about it, read it in the German, did all that in maybe an hour and a half.
Okay.
So, and I think the only thing, and you can't even get Scribe Shadow to suggest titles, book titles for you and book series titles for you, but because I want all my book titles to go together in a convention, I had to do that earlier.
Yes.
So if you're starting from absolute scratch and for some reason you're like me on an Amazon deadline, you could probably gun to your head do it in get your first book out and ready in a couple of hours. I don't know why you would do that. Okay. I would do that, but you shouldn't.
I don't think I would do that. No, that's the sort of thing where I think it would take me an hour and it'd end up taking me 5 hours.
I mean, the absolute really good thing about Scribe Shadow is it's an incredibly simple interface. There's pretty much nothing you can do in there. And people have talked about this before of it's just a click and go thing. And it really is. It's delightful. You just put in a few bits of data and metadata and then your book and your cover's just in there so you can see it. They do extra things now, actually. So they do things like they'll translate your cover for you, but I don't know how that would work. As in they'll change the cover using AI. I don't know how it would work. I don't own the copyrights to my covers. I wouldn't want to do that. It seems like a real pain. Not for me. And they will also do your audiobooks. But again, I don't quite know how that works. I think I'd rather, if I'm going to use AI, go to 11 Labs and do it there, which is a thing I am looking into next year about how I'm going to do my audiobooks. I think for audio, I am more likely to use human audio. I might do an AI audio for an old series just to test the process in the market, but I'm more likely to use human audio narrator because I dislike AI audio. I think it is not naturalistic and it bugs you when you hear tiny little incorrect things. And I've got so many weird things to pronounce that I can't be dealing with sorting out. And so I'd rather just do a royalty split or something if you want to do it for no money.
Yeah. I had another question as well. Oh, how does it work with formatting? This is a stupid question. Do you have to then format it afterwards?
So you can upload into Scribe Shadow in 2 formats. You can either upload an EPUB or a Word doc. And if you upload as a Word doc, you can only get out a Word doc. If you upload as an EPUB, you can get back EPUB or Word. I think going from EPUB to Word sometimes messes up some of the formatting. I think going EPUB to EPUB, you would need to have some tool to edit EPUBs, which I maybe don't have. I don't know if Atticus can do that, but I wouldn't do that. I uploaded a Word document and got out a Word document, or get a Word document, and then because there's things that I think after the first translation, some of my front and back matter is the same. Like the book lists will be the same, and like parts of the info about me is the same. So it's like I'm not going to translate that every time. I'd rather have one consistent version and be able to put it in every time. And yes, and so I don't know how well it deals with that. I know there are people have said there's things with it's losing some formatting, but any problems that you have, they have a Discord server. Any problems that you have, you can just put it in there. Then you DM the information about what the book is, what your info is, and they just can log in as you and look at it and fix it. I've got friends who are doing it who've said like, oh, I had a real problem. It absolutely wouldn't do a thing. It kept failing, and it kept like missing all the never translate stuff or missing all the always translate stuff, and it was just being annoying. And then they told the scribe shadow team. They went in, fixed it, refunded the credits instantly. Like it's a very small human team of people doing it, so they're very helpful.
Yeah. It does sound really good.
Yeah, I would say it's probably not something to do on a deadline, so lesson for me. Probably not something to be relying on it working 100% of the time. But yeah, it seems like it works as you would. I would say it works better than I expected, by quite a long way better than I expected. It's simple to use. It was very accurate, and there was no way for me to mess it up. There was no like devastating button you could press to do something stupid. There are a couple of tricky things. Like you can choose your model, so you can choose different AI models to use, but it tells you what it recommends. And I don't know what that's based on. I think it's based on what's working best generally. You also tell it your main genre, so I think it might also be based on your genre. But yeah, I know there's a couple of weird things around in French. There's like you use different tenses depending on genre sometimes, or depending on certain levels of formality, and people are getting odd choices of that. In German, there's actually 2 different punctuation choices you can use. You can use like quote marks like we would use, or you can use what are called guillemets, which again annoyingly, because I've got a very whimsical book series, there's a character called Guillemette because a whole generation of the family is named after punctuation marks. So guillemets those little European like chevrons that they use for dialogue. And so in German you can use either guillemets or quotation marks, and it tends to be more common in print to use guillemets. So you can actually choose in German though which one you want to use. I think in all the other languages it auto chooses whatever is the convention for printed books. But yes, there's a few places where you could choose something and it's not the correct choice, but it very strongly guides you towards, like it defaults to whatever is the correct thing for you to use. And I was like, yeah, I'll just do that. Whatever you think, I'll go for that. And the benefit of them having a Discord, they've also got a Facebook group, but I think the Discord is easier. You can search very easily in the Discord to see, someone else had this problem, and what was the solution.
Yeah, it sounds like a great service that they've got going, which is nice. I love the sound of how it is like a project, like an exciting science project. Like it's the sort of thing where I think I could really find myself getting lost in all of the fun options and trying different things, and go down a rabbit hole of a lot of different stuff. So I need to stay away from it because I need to not be distracted by that like shiny new tech stuff. But it sounds very fun.
I think it's something that can be as complicated as you want it to be. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'll live vicariously through you for the time being.
But yeah, I mean, next step. So I think it takes time to do the translations. You know, it takes time to kind of get everything set up, and it's not necessarily super interesting time. And if something goes wrong, then you've got to fix that. So I want to have them translated and ready for when I want to publish them, and then I can set up all the pre-orders, set up all the books, and then there's also the ads you have to sort out. So like Amazon ads, Facebook ads. They have set up all those in foreign languages. So yes, it will just be, I want to kind of give myself a couple of months of working on all that before I get started in the new year, which I am looking forward to. But also, I don't want to be doing it this minute.
Yeah.
And I've got a big writing year next year, so I don't want to be doing a huge amount of like admin stuff then.
Yeah, I think for you it's best to plan ahead.
Yeah,
No shade.
I will endeavour to be better. Yes. I mean, so real benefit to my next upload, I will not be 10 or 15 minutes early. I will be weeks early next time because my next book, which we will maybe have to talk about soon, I mentioned this book earlier, but it's going to be like a flashback book. It's a novella. It's coming out in December, but it's in fact, I'm going to serialize it on my website from the start of December. So I have to finish it by then. I've got about a month to do the writing and editing, and it's a short book, so that'll be fine. And so I'll be able to upload it to Amazon like near the start of December, won't even be anywhere near the deadline. I'll be miles away. So I'll see how that feels for me.
So that brings us on to the end of this topic and segues nicely into what we're going to be talking about next week, which is strategic series plans and how to decide what to write next. So are they your current thoughts on serialization?
No, I mean that I think is just an experiment. It kind of ticks a few boxes for me, the serialization, in that I wanted to be able to give something to my readers. So you will be able to read the book for free, the whole book for free on my website if you go there every day. I'll have the first few days up for a little bit, and then I'll take them down day by day. And if you get to the middle of the month and you think, oh, I don't want to wait for the end of the book, then you can just buy the whole novella, and it'll be a cheap novella at $2.99. So you can grab the whole thing. I will put something extra in there. There'll be recipes in there as well that will not be on the website. So there'll be a few extra bits in there. I'll figure out something else as well, a bonus, something else. But you can get the book or you can get it in the novella. So I just want to trial that. I want to give something back to my readers. I want to get more people coming to my website. And I also want to try a new way of releasing. So that's just what I wanted to do with this book. Not necessarily expecting it to be a huge success. It's just I want to trial 3 different things basically. So that is separate to my new series, but I might also release a book in my new series that way next year, which I am very excited about, which is not a secret. We've talked about it a while. I think you and I have both got our next definite series and a super secret, not telling anyone series on the go right now. So we will talk bits about those next week and how we decide which is the actual series I'm working on the daytime and which is the nighttime super secret series.
Yes, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about that. Not the actual, I'm not going to drop any details about the secret series, but just in general, about how the decisions that lead to certain things.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Looking forward to being
thank you very much,
and secretive.
everyone. Yes. Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. Hopefully you learnt something today. If you want to throw some money our way, you can jump onto our Ko-fi and donate. However much money you want to give us, we'll take the lot or we'll just take a little bit. It's up to you. Also, you can join us on Discord where we will continue this conversation. There's lots of people in there with varied amounts of experience, shall I say, on translations. So I'm sure there'll be lots of conversations had this week.
Little November novel writing word count group now.
We do, yes. So we set up a new channel in the Discord, and we are dropping our word counts of the day as we go through November, which is just a fun way of sharing our progress and cheering each other on. So if you are interested in that, also join us. Links in the show notes. And we will be back next week. So goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode. And don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.